Hello, I'm Raisa Chintami of the Indonesia channel in Jakarta, and this is your weekly look at the dynamic Southeast Asia region. Parliament convened in Myanmar for the first time since elections in November. And members of the former opposition now hold the majority as they took their seats on February 1st. As a result, the National League for Democracy will choose their country's next president. The ASEAN must step down by the end of March. But NLD leader Aung San Suu Kyi is barred by law from the presidency. She is expected to be the power behind the office. The first openly contested general election in 25 years saw the NLD capture 80% of elected seats. Leaders from 19 countries gathered in Kuala Lumpur to discuss a regional response to the rising threat of the terrorist group Islamic State. The two-day conference that began on January 25th was held with tight security following a deadly IS-linked attack in Indonesia's capital Jakarta on January 14th. Participants included the 10-member ASEAN countries as well as the group's strategic partners.
This is why we are here, to share and analyze the best practices, to help identify the target groups who are vulnerable to extreme militant ideology, and to discuss the role of governments in rehabilitation efforts and how best to return any of our citizens who have lost their way to fruitful and responsible lives.
Security throughout the region was tightened following the Jakarta attack. On January 16th, 7 suspects were arrested in connection with the violence that killed 8 people. Yingluck Shinawatra made her first court appearance in a case that led to fall as Thailand's prime minister. Hundreds of supporters were at the Supreme Court on January 15th holding photos and flowers. Yingluck was banned from politics for 5 years after a military-appointed legislature found her guilty of mismanaging a rice distribution program. The subsidy plan was estimated to have cost the state billions of dollars in losses. She could face up to 10 years in prison if found guilty. ASEAN is working to unify tourism efforts. Leaders adopted a global strategic plan on January 22nd called Visit ASEAN at 50. It will be launched in Germany in March, showcasing hundreds of iconic ASEAN tourism products, events, and experiences. Tourism accounted for more than 12% of ASEAN's GDP in 2013, with 102 million visitor arrivals. The new plan hopes to raise that to 15% by 2025. Thousands cheered on the Philippines for the official homecoming of the new Miss Universe. Pia Wurtzbach led a grand homecoming parade in Manila on January 25th. The 26-year-old Filipino model won the title in Las Vegas on December 20th, an event marred by the mistaken announcement of a different winner. Wurtzbach wears the crown as the Philippines' first Miss Universe in 42 years. A new regional financial body is now in operation with high hopes among Southeast Asian nations. ASEAN Today's Prisma Kinanti explains why the AIIB is expected to boost the region's economy.
Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank is an international financial institution that aims to support the building of infrastructure in the Asia-Pacific region. Inaugurated on January 16th, the bank was first proposed by President Xi Jinping in 2013 and formally established in December last year. The launch of the bank has brought much anticipation, especially among the developing nations such as Indonesia, a country with huge potential but is dragged back by its lack of infrastructure.
We can see the AIB come through in the perfect time, I think, in the beginning of the January 2016. It will bring like a new start for the growing geopolitical balancing within the western side of view, like the US and Europe led World Bank, for example, and then the China, which is like focusing on Asia. They see more prospect in the Asia, and therefore they launch the AIB. Right, I think it's like a balance of power in terms of geopolitical, and it's good for Indonesia. So we have like so many choices. I think the IIB will have more advantage rather than the other 2 institutions, IMF and World Bank.
Because they understand the problem.
Because they understand the problem of the Asia.
Joining the AIIB also has a great significance for the Philippines, as the country is being one of the major emerging economies in the Asia-Pacific region. But although the Philippines has maintained a good momentum of economic growth during recent years, the country still lags behind many countries in the fields of infrastructure construction.
There's significant amount of infrastructure requirements in the country, and AIIB can be considered as a possible source of at least part of the funding. In addition to the traditional sources such as the other existing multilateral institutions. AIIB can also be a source of expertise with respect to infrastructure development, and this is something that will also be very useful for us.
The Asia Development Bank estimates that the Philippines needs $11.5 billion each year for infrastructure construction from 2010 to 2020, and ADB can only provide $13 billion each year for the whole Southeast Asia region. Therefore, ADB sees cooperation with the AIIB as significant to the promotion of regional infrastructure construction.
To me, there is no choice over not cooperating. We should cooperate because, as I said, there is a huge need of finance in Asia, and we have certain expertise and experiences, and there is more financing by AIB, and there is no choice of not cooperating. We should cooperate, and I already made a commitment to that by discussing very frankly and friendly with Mr. Jin.
The AIIB has an authorized capital of $100 billion, equivalent to around half that of the World Bank. China, India, and Russia are the three largest shareholders of the 57 members financial institution. Prisma Kinanti for ASEAN Today.
More ASEAN Today is coming up shortly. Just who makes up the new ASEAN Economic Community? A background report next. You're watching ASEAN Today. I'm Raisa Chantami in Jakarta. Members of ASEAN and regional neighbors are in their first months of an ambitious plan. There are tremendous hopes for the ASEAN Economic Community, with all stakeholders striving to make it work. Here's a background report on who and what is involved.
The people of Southeast Asia are as different as the many languages that are spoken here. There are millions of Muslims, Buddhists, Christians, as well as Hindus and Taoists. ASEAN brings everyone together under one roof, allowing its citizens to live and work side by side.
We are strongly people-focused. Since its formation, ASEAN's consistent aim has focused on the needs of its citizens, helping to create an environment that is stable, peaceful, and prosperous for them.
It has 10 member states with a population of over 625 million. And ASEAN is committed to improving the lives of every single one of them. ASEAN's aim is to provide as many opportunities for everyone as possible. We do that through three main sections: the political security community, the economic community, and the socio-cultural community. The political security community ensures that people and nations within ASEAN live in peace with one another and with the world at large in a just, democratic, and harmonious environment.
Trafficking, migration, environment, transboundary haze, for example, cannot be addressed simply by one country or bilaterally alone. So we need regional platform.
And ASEAN also provides a platform for countries in East Asia and the world to discuss any issues that arise, allowing ASEAN to have a strong voice on the global stage. The ASEAN Economic Community is about forming a single market across ASEAN and aims to transform ASEAN into a stable, prosperous, and highly competitive region with equitable economic development and reduced poverty and socioeconomic disparities. Combined, the 10 member states have a GDP of $2.6 trillion and are projected to become the fourth biggest economy in the world by 2050.
สมาคมอาเซียนได้ซอยกิจการของข้าพเจ้าหลายเพราะว่าเพิ่นเปิดกว้างให้การไปมาหาสู่ได้สะดวกสบายและเฮ็ดให้การท่องเที่ยวของบ้านเฮาดีขึ้นและการโรงแรมก็ดีขึ้นแล้วก็รวมกันนั้นก็ยังมีอาหารการกินต้องกระหับประกันให้มันดีขึ้นอีกขอเชิญชวนมาเที่ยวเมืองลาวให้หลายๆเด้อ
And the socio-cultural community is about celebrating and protecting our amazing biodiversity and cultural resources.
สังคมอาเซียนการពារវប្បធម៌រវាងប្រទេសក្នុងតំបន់អាស៊ាន
And it also ensures that we help each other out in times of need, such as after a natural disaster. Education is one of the key issues for ASEAN integration. And by building up our future generations, it also helps narrow the development gap, as a better qualified workforce will ensure an improved economy in years to come.
Education plays a major role in terms of keeping the region safe by way of starting with the young. Children have to appreciate diversity, have to appreciate the values of democracy, respect for human rights, understanding their rights as peoples, how they can contribute to development, and then they would know how they would play an important role in contributing to maintaining peace and stability.
The ASEAN community is a place where all member states can come together to build a more stable, peaceful, and prosperous life for everyone.
One unified voice is much louder and more effective than a symphony of 10 conflicting voices.
Laos is the rotating ASEAN chair and will host the group's 2 summits this year. More ASEAN Today is coming up shortly. Visitors tour Cambodia by horseback for the first time. That's ahead. This is ASEAN Today, coming to you from the home of the ASEAN Secretariat. Those with disabilities in Thailand are now getting to feel the wind in their sails. ASEAN Today's Fauzul Azim reports on efforts to get more diverse skills out on the water.
Thailand has a long tradition in sailing. King Bhumibol Adulyadej was an enthusiast. He led the way for sailing as a sport in the nation. But starting a search for disabled sailors is a new venture. The Thailand Disabled Sailing Association was founded by a group of people to help build more confidence in young individuals to overcome what physical obstacles they may have and to meet and triumph over new challenges.
Well, today basically what our aim is to try and introduce disabled sailing here in Thailand. Not just to young people, but people that are a bit grown up. And hopefully we can get some new recruits here today to join the program.
80 people with a range of physical and mental disabilities participated in the inaugural sailing event held on January 16th. On their sail in the Gulf of Thailand, they were taken by experienced sailors to the water on a fleet of yachts, leaving behind the limitations and their day-to-day life difficulties.
ผมขึ้นเรือนี่เป็นครั้งแรกครับแต่ว่าขึ้นเรือไปเที่ยวที่เกาะล้านไปแล้วครับผม
The organizers' ultimate goal is for Thailand's disabled sailors to represent their country in sailing competition in the Paralympics and Special Olympics. Currently, the other Asian member states already have disabled sailing teams are Singapore, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Indonesia. Fauzul Azim for ASEAN Today.
Here are several events on the ASEAN calendar. The Singapore International Jazz Festival 2016 will run from March 4th to the 6th at the Marina Bay Sands. US pop singer Richard Marx will be live on stage at the Kuala Lumpur Convention Center on March 9th. And the Artful Pintadas Festival 2016 will be held in Iloilo in the Philippines on March 13th. Motorbikes are everywhere on Cambodia's streets, but in the countryside, a more leisurely form of transportation is attracting attraction. ASEAN Today's Wendy Vidiantini takes us there.
It feels a million miles away from the hustle and bustle of Cambodian capital, but this lush and peaceful countryside is located only 15 minutes away near Phnom Penh. Although motorbikes are very common in Cambodia's street, many tourists are increasingly venturing out into it on horseback, taking guided tours with Frenchman Guillaume Larifon.
Je pense que c'est une très bonne façon pour les touristes de venir visiter le Cambodge, de découvrir la campagne cambodgienne, la vraie façon de vivre des Cambodgiens des campagnes. Et aussi, j'espère faire découvrir aux Cambodgiens l'équitation, parce qu'ils n'ont pas l'habitude de monter à cheval, ils ont l'habitude d'utiliser les chevaux pour l'attelage, et j'aimerais leur faire découvrir la monte.
Moved to Cambodia since 6 years ago, Larifon trained the country's national horse riding team before he finally set up Araikasat Equestrian Trail Riders, which opened for business in last April.
J'ai 13 chevaux, je les ai achetés dans les campagnes cambodgiennes. Ce sont des chevaux qui étaient utilisés à l'attelage, qui donc tiraient, qui transportaient des matériaux dans les fermes. Aucun d'entre eux n'avait été monté auparavant, donc j'ai dû les débourrer. Ce qui n'a pas été une chose très difficile parce que ce sont des chevaux très bien dans leur tête, très calmes. Ils ont très vite compris leur nouveau boulot et ils s'y font parfaitement.
Many Cambodians have ridden water buffaloes. But since there is no tradition of horse riding, Larifon hopes to change by encouraging Cambodians to take it up. After all, given their farming backgrounds, most Cambodians take to horse riding very quickly.
ដំបូងខ្ញុំមកជិះសេះខ្ញុំមានអារម្មណ៍សប្បាយប៉ុន្តែខ្ញុំមកដល់ទីកន្លែងជិះសេះខ្ញុំខ្លាចខ្ញុំអត់ដែលជិះសេះតែមានគ្រូគេប្រាប់ថាពីរបៀបរបបការឡើងការជិះសេះទៅខ្ញុំក៏មានអារម្មណ៍ថាអត់សូវភ័យប៉ុន្មានទេ
The tracks offer a great insight into Cambodian countryside living, with the horses meandering through open fields, grassy woodlands, pagodas, and banana plantations. Horse riding costs $25 an hour, which each track lasts from 1 to 5 hours. Longer 3-day and 1-week tours also available for more experienced and adventurous riders. Wendy Widiantini for ASEAN Today.
We like hearing from you throughout the ASEAN region and the world. Let us know what you're thinking or what you want to see on the program. Email us at ASEANTodayTV@gmail.com, post something on our Facebook page, or tweet us at @ASEANTodayTV. Singapore was among the many countries that welcomed in the Year of the Monkey. A total of 2,600 lanterns were lit up among the streets of Singapore's Chinatown. The theme is Year of Prosperity and Success, with gardens filled with playful monkeys and peach trees. This New Year's festival will run through March 8th. And that's ASEAN Today for this week. I'm Raisa Chantami of the Indonesia channel in Jakarta. Terima kasih. Please join us again next time.